Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to From the Gate podcast, where we bring you game, good time, and genuine conversation. I'm Lisi.
Ses.
Let's get it. Alright, y'all. So today we're talking about the unstoppable you. And we're covering that's my remixer up. That's what happened. You don't know how to speak it. But anyways, guys, so we're covering the unstoppable you, and we're talking about different components that make up the unstoppable version of you. There's so many different things that we can do in order to become the unstoppable version of us, because we already know that we all go through stuff. We all experience different types of obstacles. We all experience different types of troubles and whatnot in this world that we live in. And so one of the greatest things that we can do is to develop resilience. But how do you develop resilience? Resilience is very hard to develop. And oftentimes there's like this whole journey that comes with going into developing resilience and becoming that unstoppable version of us. It's just so interesting to hear about other people's journeys and how resilience has helped them overcome so much in their lives and has helped them to get to where they're at. But what really constitutes resilience? And we know that resilience, it's when you are able to build that strong mental fortitude around yourself and being able to push forward and to endure some of the toughest things that life throws at you, regardless if you have people in your corner or not. And so Ses and I are going to talk a little bit about what it is that helps you develop this resilience in order to become the unstoppable you. Cue Batman music. Na 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 na. But you think about it, Batman's a very resilient person,
Oh yeah.
I think so. He lost his parents at a young age, and
who is this?
Batman.
Oh really?
Yeah, he lost his parents when he was like 8. That's like his superhero backstory. And then after he lost his parents, then he decided, the butler raised him as his own, basically. But he had his bat cave, and that's where he created all these inventions to fight the bad guys while running the Bruce Wayne empire.
Good and bad.
That's true, because he fought against like political corruption on top of dealing with actual corruption in the streets.
Everywhere.
He was out in these streets and out in these, I don't know what it is. Anyways, back to what we're talking about.
What do you know about some streets?
Huh?
What do you know about some streets?
I know on my streets there's a palm tree, there's the coconut, there's the mango tree. You go get the ma'a and you go kongi it to the tree to make the mango fall down.
Speak of the nature of that, yes. Don't speak of the street if you never lived it before.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
We grew up in two very different streets. But that's what makes us us. Is that we are able to come from different backgrounds and different walks of life and being able to share our experiences. But when it comes to resilience, there's different things that we wanted to talk about. And so the first talking point that we have right now is turning obstacles into opportunity. What are some obstacles that either you or someone that you admire has faced that you were you were able to turn into either an opportunity to help your family, or an opportunity for success, or an opportunity just to be better for yourself?
Starting at home. Looking at my parents at a young age, and just saw that on a day-to-day basis. Trying to understand, because you don't know, like, why. For instance, I used to always love going grocery shop with my mother. Although she never did, because she was like, this boy want everything. Oreo, Kellogg's, Frosted Flakes, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I used to be like, can I at least get one? Then it would be the powdered donuts. And then, right when you slide to make the go around, and then Doritos. That's the famous. I don't know, because like I would go to school and I don't know. I used to be like, damn, why don't I have a sack lunch? Mom, why is my lunch free at school?
Why do I have to eat the free lunch?
Why am I eating the free lunch meal that you signed me up for, huh? It just started from there. Mom was like, keep this at $30 and that's it. That's what kind of started for me. In LA, you're facing so many things. Bagging, keeping up with the Joneses is like, what would be the right term? Do got numbers so my brain is not a function. It's essential, right? So I don't know. And then, you have friends that you see that have all the cool, shoes. And then like that's like the shoe thing that's where it started for me. To like, oh, then you become, as time goes, that you just learn little by little.
Because I feel like when it comes to turning obstacles into opportunity, we're all faced in our lives with certain things that happen. Whether it's...
It starts at home, like I said earlier, where you learn to be disciplined is number one, right? Because like that could be Sasa Yomuli, discipline, or within yourself, building a little bit of tolerance of some sort.
Right. I think when it comes to turning obstacles into opportunity, it's so important to have a mindset where you are always wanting to learn. Because I feel like learning leads to growth in so many ways. And so when you're open to learning from the obstacles, that's when you start to find the opportunities in order to grow and in order to develop
yourself. It's a step to get to where the individual is trying, whatever the goal may be.
Right.
And it's everyday life. Just try to be better than yesterday. So what is your question?
What type of mindsets do you think are important when it comes to turning obstacles into opportunities?
It could start at watching the Lakers. Then you build... I mean, that's where it comes from, that too. Music, just
Speaking
everything.
of watching the Lakers, I think you're onto something there, because I know you're a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And
No, but
that
Kobe Bryant is way before Kobe Bryant. Like, yes, I am a huge Kobe Bryant fan, but all the way back to Magic Johnson. That's how far it goes, all the way back. Like, we lived in Inglewood, literally right across the street from the Inglewood Forum.
Right, but what I'm trying to get at is Kobe Bryant, he coined the phrase, basically, Mamba mentality.
Right.
Where it's all about attacking your obstacles, attacking your problems like a Mamba would. And so having that mentality where you're always attacking your problems head on and then growing from it and learning from it and consistently developing yourself to be better. And I think that's such an important mentality to have when you are converting.
Well, because you always look for, like, public figures, right? The Lakers specifically. It was Magic Johnson, Nick Van Exel, Vlade Divac, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These are all the guys I grew up and I was like, man, I want to be like that one of these days. Because, like, the seats back then were only like $5.
Dang.
I think 10.
That's a dream.
And
never
this
happen nowadays.
Yeah, and this was just the nosebleeds. I don't know if you've ever been in the Inglewood Forum. Well, it's not called Inglewood Forum. It's the Forum in Inglewood, but it's called the Forum. Anywhere you sit in there, you're like, whoa, it's pretty close. It's a lot different than the Staples Center, because the nosebleeds there, that shit makes me blind. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm better off watching this shit on the TV. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because you go there, and you, like, I don't know, it's too high. And I'm like, bro, there's a reason why they make a 40, 50, 60 inch.
Just watch on the TV, you get a better view. Well, you get to see
seriously,
everything.
It used to F up, like, my vision.
I feel like that's the best mentality in order to turn obstacles into opportunity is what Kobe Bryant kept saying, Mamba mentality. And so number 2 is a clear purpose. And when it comes to developing resilience to create an unstoppable you, knowing your why and understanding exactly what it is that you need to do or what your purpose is in life and having clarity on your purpose. Ses, why don't you talk to us a little bit about what is it that is so important about having a clear purpose in terms of removing like your distractions or things that you doubt?
It's normal to have all these infractions or whatever you want to call it. I'm still a student of the game. I'm still a student at life and still learning every single day.
Mm-hmm.
First off is like surrounding yourself around people that's gonna keep you accountable and that's gonna want you to do better because they see what you have. Because sometimes we don't realize it because we're inside looking out. Sometimes we just interpret things differently, right?
Right.
With work, relationship, anything, just life. I think you just have to start somewhere and go from there. Surrounding yourself around good people because, like, I feel if you have too many and then then you become confused in a sense, right?
Right.
Because then you have all of these, like, if you just have maybe a couple, what could I do to be better, to better myself? Maybe because like growing up, like our parents was always teaching us, don't hang around the bad people, don't go around this crowd, don't go around that. But in reality, that's impossible.
Right.
Because like when you go to school, a public school for that, like
You're
it's impossible.
surrounded by so many different groups.
Absolutely. You get easily influenced right away by the music and what we hear on the radio, what we watch on TV. For us particularly, our parents was very big on television. We weren't allowed to watch TV Monday through Thursday. We weren't allowed. We had to read, homework, house chores and stuff like that. So like it didn't make sense to me. You're young and you don't know any better, so you're gonna have a lot of questions. My father, he knew. I felt like my pops was always just ahead in so many ways. He put me on game early. Let's just put it that way. And I'm glad he did. And I'm very, very fortunate to have a father that did that because I understand it now that I'm a father. I want to do that for my kid. Not in that strict because it's a different time.
Well, talk to us a little bit about knowing your why. Why is it important to know your why? And
well, being an adult, you have to have whys.
Right, because I feel like it's such a cliche term now, where everyone is always like, "Oh, you have to know your why. What is your why?" kind of thing. And so, I know that was a huge question that was always asked when I was working for YMCA. Like, what's your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Maybe because Y stands for YMCA? I don't know. Not jokes. But it's a real serious question, though. What is your why? Why is knowing your why so important?
If you have that desire to look at it that way and have those qualities within yourself and not be comfortable on recognizing certain things and not be comfortable. Right? So then you create like habits. I got to get in the gym. Maybe I got to work extra hours. Maybe I got to do less watching TV. Maybe I got to focus reading a book. Anything that's going to uplift you mentally, physically, or spiritually. I mean, that's the way I apply it to my life now.
Right.
So you start with small habits like that. I believe you'll be on your way. And just understanding anybody to look at their own self and fix themselves to be better
Right.
in those areas, you'll be on your way. I truly believe you'll be okay.
And so that kind of leads into our next talking point, which is embracing change. And when it comes to embracing change, we know that time is never on our side most of the time. Time is a constant that is always changing, always causing things to change. What is it that we can do? When you know your why, you understand the habits that you form and whatnot in order to have a clear sense of purpose as to why you're on this earth. How do you maintain while change is happening? How do you maintain your purpose while change is consistently happening around you? And when it comes to embracing change, because time doesn't stop, when we embrace change instead of resisting it, we find ways to adapt.
Well,
And I
most
know,
of us, most people are just regular degular, just going through the day, 9 to 5, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. I choose not to be one of those people. Absolutely not. You have to not be comfortable enough to where like you understand we're all born with talent.
you're right though. We're all born with different talents. We're all born with
No,
different abilities that allows us to be the people that we are. But
right?
our abilities are always changing. Like the abilities that you had when you were in high school, I'm sure are not the same abilities that you have as an adult because you've learned so much, you're more aware of so much. Your mind has grown, your body has become stronger. You learn more about your spirit man and the importance of feeding your spirit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so being able to embrace the changes that happen within you instead of resisting it and trying to live like you're 21 when you're 36. Me.
Yeah, we're
And so learning to grow with the times instead of trying to stay rooted and trying to hold on to what was and growing with what's going on. And I think that's so important when it comes to embracing change because I know for me personally, there's been a lot of instances where I've been very stubborn in terms of wanting things to change and allowing things to change. And oftentimes people don't even understand why I do half of the things that I do. And that's okay. That's okay. Most people won't understand why it is that you change the way that you are. Growing up, I've always been the type of person to be extroverted, and everyone always knew me to be extroverted and always helping others and doing church ministry and whatnot. And then as I got into my 20s, that started to change to where I became more ambiverted and I was not as out there as I used to be. And I started to do a lot more self-reflection and I started to go more into myself versus always trying to be there for everybody else. And I started to learn how to show up for myself. And then now that I'm in my 30s, it's different. Now I appreciate moments of solitude a lot more. Now I appreciate being able to spiritually feed myself outside of the fellowship. A lot of times I would lean on what everyone else was saying versus on what I knew I needed to do or focusing on what I needed to do in order to improve myself and develop myself. And all those things happened because I had to be open to changing who I am. And I had to be open to understanding that the season that I'm in now is not the same season that I was in when I was 16 or when I was 22 or when I was 28. Every season has its own battles. Every season has its own learning and growth opportunities. Every season you're going to have a different purpose. And so being able to stay focused on my purpose like we were talking about before and embracing the changes that are happening now. Is it easy? Hell no, it's not easy. Is it worth it? Hell yeah, it is. 100%. But you have to be willing to go through the growing pains, and that's something that I'm learning is to embrace the growing pains of it all. And so another that actually goes into our next talking point, which is about self-belief and believing in yourself. And Ses is a very confident person, and not in like a prideful way or anything. I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to blow his head up, but he is very firm in his values. He's very firm in what he believes in, and he's very firm in the teachings that he was taught as a child up until now. And that's something that I admire in him because a lot of times I doubt myself. I am not a confident person, and I'm starting to learn how to be more confident in the person that I am and the abilities that I have. But I also think that my confidence was also rooted in me not knowing or not understanding my purpose and leaning on everybody else. Because when you lean on everybody else to validate the person that you are, and yeah, you can surround yourself with good people, but when you start to rely on those people more than you rely on yourself and on the Lord, then that's when you see things start to waver. And that's where I went wrong in my life. Is I leaned too much on other people and I didn't lean on the Lord as much in order to build my confidence and to have that confidence in my abilities. And so having that unwavering belief is where relentlessness comes from. And I'm learning relentlessness right now, and I'm learning what it means to have unwavering faith. Because it's not easy. It's not easy to develop unwavering faith when things are happening and the people you once relied on, you you can't fully rely on them because you have to learn how to rely on yourself. And self-reliance is so important, and hyper independence is so important also in this sense when it comes to self-belief. And I'm not saying you can't lean on other people. I'm just saying that you have to learn how to be confident in who you are as a person. I am learning to be confident in who I am as a person. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it. I'm working my way there.
Me personally, you have to invest in yourself. Because some of us are like, oh, I'm married, already have kids, and no, that's bullshit. That's excuse. That's not the end of the fucking road. But see, that's just the comfortability when you remind yourself and already doubt yourself without even trying. That's how we are trained.
Right.
No, I'm already married, and you could be a foodie, you could be any of those things. You just have to put it in action.
Right.
But we self-destruct so fast and so quickly. You already setting yourself up for failure
Right.
by reminding yourself, shit, 5 minutes will change your life. It will make you feel differently. I promise you. People just want to be a robot, work from here to here, and be just regular from here to here,
Right.
and just go through the motion like every single day. That's fine if that's what people want. That's not how I want to do it. No, absolutely not.
Right. All right, Sess. So I see you as a person, and I've always told you this, that I find you as a very confident person. What is it that gives you that unwavering belief in yourself that makes you very, because I feel like you're a very relentless person, like you don't let anything stop you. You try to keep pushing forward even when the odds are stacked against you. What is it that gives you that unwavering belief in yourself?
Just realizing, the bullshit, and separating yourself from the bullshit, whatever that is. You got to wrap your mind around accepting failure and embrace it, wanting better for yourself, whether that's making small things or small habits of your daily routine differently besides just work. Stick it to the script. And that's just the bottom line. Not everybody gonna have the same goal as you. Not everybody, and it's okay. You gotta lead by example. Finding new things, have a passion for something. Having your whys. Start to implement all these things to yourself, and then you know your worth. You value yourself in a higher level. People should want to be better. That should be something you want to be competitive about within your own self. And I ain't gonna lie, I was a follower for so many years. I was a follower. But, I had my own personal reasons why I did those things, and Being the macho dude ain't gonna get you nowhere. Absolutely not.
Right.
Because I know you ain't gonna get no girls like that. I know that for sure. A woman wants to find a man that has some kind of sensitivity, right? Because that's what women gravitate to. They want to find not only a man that's masculine, but also a man that's sensitive.
So how does physical and mental fitness play into this? This is our next talking point, by the way, guys. When it comes to self-belief and developing that unstoppable you and having your clear vision of yourself and everything.
Well, you just got to separate yourself sometimes. You have to. It's cool to be by yourself. It really is. You should try it. But, at the end of the day, just stick to the script and that's it. It's very simple.
Why is it that you enjoy physical fitness?
I just love sweating. I love just doing things that are hard. Yeah. I love lifting heavy weights. I just love the whole process of that. I love eating good food. I love putting good food inside my body, although it's not always. I know what I got to do. It's the girl or the guy that's with you that.
Bombastic side eye.
Yee!
But the next one was all about physical and mental fitness and how working out leads to clarity and good energy. And oftentimes working out teaches us endurance because you have to endure through your exercises in order to get the results that you want. And not only that, when it comes to mental fitness, like Ses was saying, being alone, it's okay to be alone, like having solitude. And maybe we'll explore that topic a little bit more in a different episode. But just being able to do both strengthens our ability to be able to handle stress and perform at our A games. And the only way that that's possible is to be consistent with those physical and mental fitness routines. Because when you're consistent in practicing and keeping up with the Joneses, I guess, in a sense. Well, not even keep up with the Joneses. Keep up with yourself. Keep up with the things that you have to do for yourself.
Yourself first.
Show up for yourself. If you're
That's
not going to
it.
be able to show up for yourself, then what are you even doing it for? Just being able to show up for yourself every day, whether you're being motivated or whatnot, regardless of who's around you or what's going on, and disciplining yourself in that regard. When it comes to being consistent, that kind of is
just honoring yourself and staying down for you. You have to get out of being comfortable. Comfortable is not good.
Right.
It's not good for a human being. I know that for a true fact. Being through life experiences, like comfortable should never be for nobody.
Right.
There's always work to do every single day. And I know one day at a time, the 24 hours that you have, make the most of it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, next thing you know, a month and then a year. You're like, oh gosh, I can really do it. Oh my goodness, Jose, how you do that?
So being disciplined regardless of how our emotions are is key to consistency. And in closing, guys, so we talked about a lot of different things when it comes to developing the unstoppable you, but if there's anything that we want you to take away from this is turn your obstacles into opportunities. Develop a clear purpose. Embrace the changes that are coming. Believe in yourself. Work out your physical just as much as you work out your mental, or vice versa.
And your spiritual.
And your spiritual. And last but not least, be consistent. And so we want you to be the unstoppable version of you in a world that continuously tests us every single day. And so find us on all of our social medias as well as on our website. You can find all of our links to all of the podcast platforms that we are on, as well as our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, From the Gates. And then what's our website, Ses?
FromTheGate.com.
FromTheGate.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast. I'm Lisi.
Ses.
Deuces.